Hey guys, how you doing? I gotta try something. You gotta love things when they work. I'm gonna see if my switcher is deciding to connect. No, it doesn't look like it did. It's amazing how sometimes things work and then all of a sudden, poof, they just go away. So let's just, what I'm going to do. I might have to do this the old-fashioned way again, but we can deal with that. Hi. the camera is right in front. I'm going to have to move this software down a little bit. There, we can make it go that way. Okay, and of course, these buttons are now all differently positioned, so I have to figure out where I put it. There, we're good. How are you all doing? It's Thursday, June 17th, and today is... Yeah, it's Tripping Out Thursday. In the show notes, do I have them up? I don't have them handy. I talk about how as this teaching marinates into your mind, it really kind of feels a little bit trippy. Not because you don't get it, but because you do. And this is kind of a handy thing to just kind of be aware of. Is, I know with our teachings and probably some of the other folks that you follow as well, when you're listening to what they have to say in whatever format that is, and it kind of makes your brain, it kind of gives you the brain headache, right? Or it kind of twists your mind a little bit, and you're kind of going, what? That's your first indicator that you're getting it, because... And it fits in with the topic for today. I wonder if this is going to work for me now. No, it's just going to sit there and be stupid. So I'm going to try starting it again. We'll just start the whole thing again. But if you weren't resonating with it, then it would just, and you'd be, okay, sure, all right. So when you're experiencing or receiving or participating in discussions like this, and you're really it's kind of making you do one of these, that's your first indicator. Not that you could very well be crazy, but not for this particular reason, is that you're actually getting it, not that you're not. Okay. So we'll see what that's going to do. But without further ado, let's bring in Mr. Flipchart, okay? Oh, look at that. And I guess the right button. There's my little switcher. It works pretty darn good, but every once in a while it just gets temperamental. Okay. Let me get rid of these. How you doing today? Of course, let me think. What's new? What's new in my world? This is my first Ask the Wizard almost daily of this week. Been working on the Ask the Wizard After Dark internet radio. Some of you will have probably seen it. There's been a couple of times I've done it during the day, but really where it will be positioned is later on at night. I guess it's a little bit of a DJ mix, if you think about it. And I actually use DJ software to do it. So let's see if it likes it now. I actually use DJ software to do it. So it's later on at night, and it's a mix of different music. Some is really zen, and some's a little bit more energetic. I'll kind of jump in with commentaries and mini teaching, if you will. Probably the odd meditation, a little bit of an energy healing. It's about an hour, the show. I broadcast the video and audio on Facebook Live. So right here. So if you go to my profile, you would see it. Then what we do is I strip the audio out of it and I upload that to our online 24-hour radio station. So as we add these programs, it's broadcasting 24 hours a day. So if you go to, it wants me to install an upgrade. No way. If you go to healingcenter.ca, scroll down a little bit to the media panel, you're going to see a button there. It's not really highlighted too well yet, but you'll see it. It's like Ask the Wizard Radio or something like that. Click on that. and you'll bring up our radio station and it'll just start playing wherever it is in the program list. Then there's a couple of buttons below that you can always just click on them. And it says one is see if I'm broadcasting live audio, the other is see if I'm broadcasting live video. That would be through Facebook. So you can always go and check that out. So in playing around with that, it works really well. I gotta say, it's kind of fun. It's a very different vibe. The audio version only, one of the reasons we do it that way is so that you can stream it just like a podcast or anything like that. So 90% of you are watching this on a tablet or a phone. So if it's on your phone, you don't have to keep screen active all the time. Of course, you can just listen to it. So that's kind of what I've been up to. Okay, let's just, it's still loading. I'm just curious to see if this will work, but let's go to Mr. Flipchart. Now, in the theme of, and I can see the number of people that are watching, but I don't know who you are. So if you wanted to hop on the comments line and say hi, that would be cool. Share. We're all in this together. Okay, Mr. Flipchart. Was doing pretty good. I actually have a little fan here to keep it cool and I'm pumping an awful lot of stuff through it, but it works. It's doing good. And I was chatting with a fellow yesterday, and this tablet computer it's coming up to 5 years old, so it's done really well. Okay, this is you. No, I'm going to go a little bit further. This is you. And just so we can draw some common labels. Your I am, right? Your soul, your spirit, your higher self, right? Pick your label there. This is... You know what? I always forget. I forget the H. I don't know why. I don't even know when I noticed it. But one day I looked and I went, huh. I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be an H in there somewhere. Anyway, it's my version of physical. All right? Live with that. Okay. And there's your... No, I'm going to do it again up here. There you go. And you're non-physical, a little bit off the screen, but you know what I mean. So what is your non-physical? So I'll just kind of put them here just so you've got the words. Look at this there. So what have I done now? I tell you, it updates and then everything goes just stupid. Oh, it's not locked. Okay, so I'll have to be careful. So here's your thoughts. All right. So our thoughts are the raw material that make up our physical. So what are non-physical? So what is that? So a memory, right? A memory is a thought. When we visualize something, that's a thought. If we pre-live a future event, which is a mechanically accurate description of what we're doing when we think into the future, those are all thoughts. Right? They're all in your non-physical. And as I talked about in, I don't know which class I was doing this week, your thoughts are made up of two components. Well, it's just what do I think? Isn't that interesting? Are made up of two components: pictures and movies, voices or dialogues. That's it. So if you think about a memory, when you're remembering something, it presents itself to you as pictures or movies, voices or dialogues. You know what? The software isn't running. Oh, that's probably why. Let's see what happens. As pictures or movies, voices or dialogues. And so if you're pre-living a future event, I'm looking at all this stuff and see if it's going to work. There it is. Now let's see if it connects. If you're pre-living a future event, then what are you doing? It shows up as pictures or movies, voices or dialogues. If you're visualizing something, how does that manifest or present itself to you? Pictures or movies, voices or dialogues. Okay, so when you're, I'm going to use a different color. When you're observing something in your physical and you decide that you don't like it, right? And this is straight out of one of my favorite teachers, Esther Hicks. Not the only one, of course, that says this. As soon as you become aware of what you don't want here, you create. So as soon as you become aware of what you don't want, of what you don't want here, you create its not so much opposite. I really like the words that she uses. As soon as you become aware of what you don't want, you automatically become aware, or it's created non-physically, of what you do want. So that's the thing. It's this and this. So whenever you're aware of what you don't want here, you create, you see, and it's not even the potential. And this is going to be the trippy part here. It's not even the potential of what you do want. What you do want is very literally created. All right? Created. Not creating. Not creating. Created here. Now, this is the part, actually, I think I was talking about this. I did an After Dark show last night. Go to the profile, scroll down a bit, you'll see it. So it was, you kind of wrap your head around this, or try to anyway. It's so I'm seeing what I don't want here. So then what I do want is here too. Like how can what I don't want and what I want exist here? Like at the same time, it can't. Isn't that interesting? Throat chakra, isn't that cool? This is really powerful stuff then. So if what I don't want is here, you're telling me what I do want is here too. I mean, that doesn't work. So I'm going to use it's a real common one, and I guess an easy one to measure, I suppose. So if I look at my a bank account and the number, I do not like it at all. You're telling me that, like, my bank account was something that I would go, ooh, that's pretty cool. That exists too? Yeah, actually, I am. Don't mind me. I'm just going to try this a few times here. We're among friends, so we can play around with stuff, right? So yes, actually, but it doesn't exist here. It exists here. Now, there's all sorts of teaching behind. Oh, look at that! I got to try this. Okay, let's try this. Where has it moved it? Isn't that crazy what it's doing? Hold on. I got to try this. Oh, is it this one? Let's see. Okay, we're back. Oh, there it works. It's the old. Did you unplug it and plug it in again? Did you shut it off? Did you restart it? Right? Isn't that? Yeah, that's the first response to an IT query. Well, it worked. Okay. So, what you do want, really instantly, and yes, we could say specifics, but even just general themes. So if you look at your bank account and it's less than what you want, then having a bank account that's more than what you need, oh, I like that. That's good. Already exists and really is instantly created, but it's created here. So it's not even so much like the potential is created. It is created. Now, your job, your job is to figure out how to get this into here, right? Now, here's the thing. And this is where it, even my whole Trippy Thursday, as this starts to take place, you kind of feel like you're going a little bit batty too, because as we've said, what you don't, and on a physical level, what you don't want and what you do want cannot exist on a physical level at the same time. So this is really part. And look at the switchers working again. Isn't that cool? So what you don't want, like at this, right here, what you don't want and what you do want Do do na 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 na. Anyway, I'm back. It just worked. I'm just so happy. So, what you don't want and what you do want cannot exist here at the same time. See, and this is why so often, and it fits in with our whole. You've heard this theme now. We've been saying this for a long time. Is these phases, right? You're building a new house. In order to build a new house and the existing foundation, the first thing you got to do is get rid of the existing house. You strengthen the foundation, you expand it, and then you build a new one. So this fits really well with that. So as you start to bring that through, as you start to, and I'll talk about how to do that, as you start bringing this through, and this is why, you see, if it just stays here, like if that's the only place it exists, I mean, now that's when people talk about daydreaming or it's just a fantasy or I want to go, life is just a fantasy, but I'm not going to do it. Most of you aren't old enough to remember that line. But anyway, what is it? Can't remember this thing or no. So if it just stays there, then it is. It's just a daydream. It's just a fantasy. It's just a whatever, right? But that's not who you are. You want to figure out, you want to bring it down into here, right? I want to see this stuff because that's cool thinking about it. And it maybe even feels good to think about it. But I don't want to just think about it. I want to bring it down into here. Okay, so now as you do that, and we'll talk about how to do that. As you do that, what it's doing is it's starting to make its way, and we actually call this, many of our students, the creative flow, right? We talk about the creative flow. So what is that creative flow doing? So what it's doing is it's constantly bringing the non-physical into the physical. So I often use the example of gravity. So if I took this pen and I dropped it, it's going to fall. I don't have to make it fall. It's going to fall. If I took this coffee, let go, it's going to fall. If I went to the top of the roof of the house and jumped off, I'm going to fall. So gravity is always impressing itself everywhere all the time, right? So you could think of this creative flow. I'm just going to abbreviate. You could think of this as this creative flow as gravity. So what it's doing is it's actually bringing this like this. Now, here's kind of a neat thing. If we didn't supersede the law of gravity, as soon as you became aware of what you don't want here and what you do want is created here, then what you do want would just naturally flow down and show up. But what we do is the things that we do actually supersede the law, if you will, of gravity or this creative flow. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so here you go. Now you go, oh my God, the pen's floating. The pen's floating. Gravity doesn't exist. And you go, well, that's kind of stupid because you're holding on to the pen. If you let go of the pen, it's going to fall. So yes, gravity exists, but right now I am consciously superseding the law of gravity. Well, the same thing, here's the thing, the same thing applies with this creative flow. Creative flow is very powerful, but the thing of it is, so are we. And we can consciously, or often unconsciously, do something that supersedes it. Now, because we understand that truth now, just even that changes everything. So now this is where your brain's going to get even more trippy. Because now what I'm saying to you, and what really is crazy, is it's not just me. What I am saying to you is what you do want is trying to make its presence known here. This pen is trying to fall, isn't it? Right? This pen is trying to fall. And it will always try to fall. This is really good. Which is why it's never too late for you. Because this pen I could hold for 10 seconds, 10 minutes, and hopefully not this scenario, 10 years. But as soon as I remove, right? As soon as I remove that external force that's superseding the law of gravity, it just does what it knows to do. And that's a really important thing to remember, is that this creative flow is always impressing itself, taking the non-physical, in this case what we do want, and bringing it into the physical. So that's the first thing to remember. And so the first truth is, I don't have my text prompter up, otherwise I would. You can take notes. Here. The first truth is, I'll put it here. Where's my mouse? We're going to try this. Okay, so 1. I'm typing these comments so you can just kind of see them later. And if this doesn't want to work, I'll just do it later. The creative flow is always impressing itself upon our, it's going to be kind of creepy, so it's not going to be enough. So that creative flow is always impressing itself in your present moment, bringing the non-physical into the physical, in this case, what you do want. Right? The second piece is that I didn't have to make that pen fall, right? I didn't have to make it fall. I just removed that external force that was preventing it from doing what it naturally is designed to do. See, this is one of the reasons why when you give up, when you go, oh man, I've been doing all this stuff, and I've been doing my affirmations, and I've been namasteing the shit out of everything and stuff like that. It's not working. This is dumb. It's not working. And it's like in that moment, I've had this happen. In that moment, it manifests, or the flavorings of it, or things like that. And you go, oh, come on. Like, I hung on for so long. Right? I just hung on for so long. Nothing happened. And then I finally quit, said, screw this. And then it happened. And I would often ask myself the question, or almost berate myself, in like, man, why couldn't I have just held on a bit longer? Because then I could feel really good about it. Because, oh, look at me, look what I did, kind of thing. But I'm starting to realize more and more that if I kept holding on, right, it wouldn't have shown up. So while it's not the preferred strategy, when I quit trying, when I gave up without even thinking about it, I let go of the pen. So what you want is trying to impress itself. It exists right here, right now, but it exists here. It needs your assistance, and sometimes your assistance is not trying to make it happen. Yes, right? We just talked about to give it form here. Okay, so how do we kind of expedite that? How do we help, right, without hindering? Yeah, big difference. Another side note, and we'll get into the process here right away. So you're doing the process, and you go, okay, so what do I do? Like we like to do things. I like to do things. So sometimes the proper or the best next step in expediting what you do want to show up has nothing to do with what you want to show up. Sometimes the best next step is you're doing something that, at least from your perspective, has nothing to do with what you desire showing up. And what I find is often what that is that source getting you out of the road. So what source is saying, I tell you what, you help me over there. You go help me over there. That'd be really good. I really need your help, but I need it over there to get you out of the road. But anyway, here we go. All right. So what do we do? And this actually, for those of you in the 777 Club or have been to our manifesting workshops or anything like that, the 5 steps, right? To create your perfect desire. Second one's living on the inside. Third one is managing resistance. Fourth one is inspired action. Fifth one is celebrating your victories. If you're not a member of the 777 Club, you really should check it out. Just look at a little bit of the literature, the posts I've made and things like that. If you want to know more, message me and I can let you know. It really is. The 777 is at $7.70 a week. It really is well worth it. I have to, and the value keeps getting more and more and more because we're keeping adding more things to offer as much value as we possibly can for you guys. Because here's the thing, because we're all in this together. When you win, we win. So in a way, it's almost self-serving, right? The more you win, the more we win, because we're all resonating together. At least those of us that resonate together. Yes, that's that whole community piece. But anyway, okay, here you are. This is what you do want. So what you do is you start to think about it, right? You start to focus on it. You start to focus. So now you're daydreaming, but what you're doing is as you focus on it, you're starting to feel how good it feels when you focus on it. Okay, so that's your job, right? Which is step 2, right out of the manifesting manual. You focus on what you want and you feel good. And this is also where the power of understanding comes into play. You see, you can be doing this, but if it's more from a place of memorization than it is understanding, it has a very different outcome and a hugely different level of effectiveness. Because when you do something coming from a place of understanding of why you're doing it, how it fits into the machine, it's infinitely more effective. So here's what you're doing. Your focus on it feels good. Now, this starts to make its way down. We'll do this. So it starts to, it fits into this, right? It starts to make its way down into your physical. Now, remember, the closer this gets to here, the more you're going to notice disturbances. Where? Here. Why are you noticing these disturbances? This is step 3 in the manifesting process, which is managing resistances. You could call it resistance too. It's called shit. The shit happens, right? It's because what you do want and what you don't want, cannot exist at the same time in the physical. So as you're bringing that down into the physical, this is the existing and this is what's coming in new. You've got more and more of this happening. Because that existing, it's solid. Like the physical is solid, right? Yes, I know it's energy, vibrating, and frequencies, all that kind of stuff. But because this one is replacing this one, and who knows what's held this, what you don't want in place, topic for another broadcast, workshop, teaching, you're going to notice this push and pull. It's like musical chairs. You remember playing musical chairs? And you get one chair out, and if it's you and another person, and you only had one chair left, you're both going to try and sit in that chair at the same time. And if you guys grew up on farms, I grew up on a farm, and we had milk cows, and they had their stalls, and each milk cow had its stall, and they just knew where they were supposed to go. But sometimes one milk cow would kind of forget and get in the wrong stall. Well, the milk cow whose stall that belonged to, it'd try to go in there. It'd try to go straight into that damn stall, even though there was a cow in it. So in a very spiritual way, that's what's happened when you bring this down. Because now when you're in the physical, that's when you've got this stuff happening. And that's why so often when you start to really embrace this process, things can get rather disturbed down here. And often, not that there's a bigger or a smaller when we're looking at the non-physical, but we decided there is. Often the bigger the change here, the more the disturbance you're going to experience. And this is where so many people quit. They start to bring it, they start to notice that, and instead of going, well, okay, I don't have to like this, but I recognize that something's happening, right? I mean, and it's not pleasant. Nobody said this was. But it's worth it. So rather than saying, whoa, shit's happening. Oh, must be something's happening. We go, oh, Oh dear, oh, this isn't fun. Don't like this. Maybe what you don't want gets bigger. Now, why would that be? Because you're bringing in something different, and you've got this pushing, this pulling, this wrestling match. You got these two cows trying to get in to the same station at the same time. This is where things like determination, persistence, all that cool stuff is so critical. Because as you're bringing that, as you're choosing to tune into that, the closer it gets to the physical, often the more disturbances you're going to see. And this is where you hold your focus. You hold your focus and you just, there's no way, I'm not moving. That's it. This is what I'm choosing. I deserve this. I own this. This exists. See, this exists. Don't have to create it. It's created. And I'm bringing this into the physical. And that's when you hold and you hold and you hold. And then what happens is, it's almost like a one big fell swoop, this goes away and this is now here. So it's actually pushed that out. And that's a nice way to think of it too, is what you do want pushes out or displaces what you don't want, which is again why you get all that push and that pull. But because it's only one or the other, it's like push, all this kind of stuff. And then instantly what you don't want disappears. Poof, what you do want replaces it. All right, that was really good teaching. I really like that. That was good. I learned a bunch myself, reminded myself of a bunch of things. Questions or comments, you know how to find me. If you're watching this on the replay, we upload these to YouTube as well. You'll see it under the playlist of live broadcast, I think I call it, so you can always check it out there. We've got the Ask the Wizard After Dark Internet Radio. It's posted on my Facebook profile, of course, and you can go to it from the website as well. 777 Club, in-person Reiki workshops. I mean, we've always been scheduling right through the apocalypse, but of course, hasn't been a lot of registrations. But things are opening up, thank goodness. And so we have those scheduled. So check that out. That's on the website too. And of course, just hop on Facebook. You can always find out everything there. And you can always message me. All right, guys, I'm going to try this. This should work. So thanks for tuning in. Share. We're all in this together. See you on the web. This has been Tripping Out Thursday.